My guest today is Wale O, who has lived across continents and currently living in Berlin. She will take us on a journey on how she has established herself in each of the countries she has lived in as an African woman living in diaspora. Welcome to African Women in Diaspora series. Wale, thank you so much for the opportunity to take a few minutes of your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Clara, for inviting me here today.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I know that you live in Germany, and I feel like you're the right person to do this because you already have a platform that shares all the tea about living abroad and all your experiences. So I feel you have a strong hold to, share your experience, all your challenges, because I don't think it's easy living abroad. I haven't done it myself. So what would you say? First of all, you live in Germany, and where exactly are you staying in? Are you living in Germany?
Okay, thank you so much, Clara, for inviting me here. As Clara has said, for those watching, my name is Wale O. I live in Germany. I'm based in Berlin, in Germany. And I've lived in multiple countries around the world, in Southeast Asia, in Europe, in Africa. And I work full-time in tech. And I share my journey of living internationally and having a global career on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok on @Wale Chronicles. That's where you find me everywhere.
Yes.
What was the question? Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
live in
And you live in Berlin. Yes,
I live in Berlin.
in
Yeah.
Berlin. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I live in Berlin, Germany. Yes.
You've traveled around. You've traveled around, and now in Berlin, you really have embodied the whole. Like, I'm so proud. You make me that proud, sis. Like, I'm so happy to see that she's showing what she's doing. She's really, representing very well. And I feel like, for me, based on my experience, there was something I mentioned to you that, when I was living back in Denmark and someone asked me direct, I'm just going to jump into this stereotype thing. Like,
Yes.
okay, Clara, I want to ask you something. Were you a prostitute when your husband met you? And yes, and I was really taken aback before I was able to even defend. I don't know, it felt so silly to say defend, but I kind of put her in her place. Have you ever, in your years of traveling around, been stereotyped or felt any kind of stereotype? Or do you feel that it's been a smooth journey for you? You know,
I mean, it's definitely not been smooth, right? So if I say it's smooth, that will be a big lie. There are challenges that come with living in different countries, and also stereotypes of like I haven't had any like outright blatant rude question. Like that's just for me, in my opinion, that's a very rude and unexposed person to ask that kind of question because if you think like because a Black woman is in Europe, then she like what you definitely are not exposed enough to even have a conversation. You definitely don't know anything outside of your immediate environment. And for me, that's just not a quality person. Anyway, but for the challenges, yes, I of course I faced challenges and stereotypes. Let's talk specifically about stereotypes now.
yeah.
I remember when I was living in Indonesia, I will give a story. When I was living in Indonesia, I came to Europe for something, some work, or I don't remember what I came for. And I was going back to Jakarta, Indonesia. I was flying out of Vienna, Austria. So at the check-in counter, the check-in counter guy, like when I checked in and everything, he was already asking me, I was flying alone. So he was already taking extra time. And when they start taking extra time, like I'm like, oh my God, this passport again is giving me stress. But anyway, he was, and I'm like, is there any problem? If you have any questions, please ask me. I will be happy to answer the questions. I was like, no, it was taking time. So then later he started asking me like, oh, so what am I going to do in Indonesia? I said, I live there. I gave him my residence permit, everything. I live there. So he was like, what do you do? I work there. Like, do you have your employment contract or something? I was like, no. Then I said, do you travel with your employment contract when you travel? And he was like, no, I don't. I'm like, so why are you asking me for my employment
Yeah.
contract? I just my residence permit. So I think that's situation. Maybe I'm reading too much meaning into it, but that must have been a stereotype that what is
It is because you
a
have a
young,
green passport, and so
exactly a young African passport holding girl. What is she
yeah.
doing flying from? So in my mind, I was just like, you're not even the custom. Like, what's your problem? Of course, I didn't say that, but
Yes,
I always,
exactly.
as ambassadors, we always have to be polite,
Yeah,
classy, like, and nice. So I said, I don't have my employment contracts. If you don't travel with your employment contract, then I don't think you should expect me to travel with my employment contract.
yeah.
So that's the only story I can think of now regarding stereotype.
Right. But
Mm.
that really, I mean, it's stereotype. If you think, honestly, it is being stereotyped because we have a green passport.
Mm.
However, our cases are different, but I think there are a lot of challenges most women are going through, or men as well, to be honest. But most women, because this is Women's World Show, in
Mm.
regards to when they move to Europe looking for a job, how were you able to, get your first job? Was it easy for you?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, it was not easy. Oh my God. So as I said, like okay, that was in the previous recording that didn't work out. So let me repeat it again.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, so my background is in human resource management. My first, like, after I graduated from the university in Nigeria, I worked in engineering, in people management, recruitment and selection and all that. And then I moved into entrepreneurship, customer engagement and stuff later on after that. And so in my mind, I thought, like, when I come to Germany, they'll just be giving me the job. Like, come and take.
Easy,
Oh my
because they
God.
have all the
I was
qualifications.
in for a shock. Now it looks like, oh yeah, I have, like, I'm working in tech now in an internationally renowned company. But in the beginning, when I moved to Germany, because I moved to Germany for a master degree,
Right.
I couldn't, it was so difficult. I was getting rejections after rejection. I sent so many applications. And at some point, I started to go to restaurants to try to get a waitressing job because, please, at all, let me just be doing
Let's just
something.
be doing something. Yes.
Exactly. So, and even the restaurant, the waitressing job, excuse me, even the waitressing job, they were rejecting me. They were asking me, like, do you have experience as a waitress? And I was very silly. I was like, no, but it's
You're a
waitressing.
quick
I can
learner.
learn. Like, it cannot be that complicated. It's not like heart surgery. I'm trying to, like, do like a heart surgery or something. So I was saying no, and they would reject me because I didn't have experience as a waitress. So it was really, really tough in the beginning, and it really, like, affects your self-esteem. And everybody that moves abroad for, like, a job without moving with a job,
Right.
everybody goes through this, because, like, when you apply for jobs, of course you get rejections, and then you start thinking, like, oh, am I as smart as I think I am? All my experience,
Yes.
is it bullshit? Oh, I cannot curse on the internet, but all my experience, is it, like, irrelevant? And eventually I was able to get my first job, and it was a breeze after that. Like, after the
Yeah.
first job, then a couple of months later, I even switched to another company. So it definitely was not easy, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
But you
Yes,
persisted. You persisted and kept showing how capable you are. So what was
absolutely.
the tip of really finding, because you were looking for a job, were you applying online? I know that you share most of the tips on your platform, to be honest, but what's the most tip, the measure tip or guideline that you use to find your dream job in Germany?
Mm. So I would say the biggest thing would be your network, right? It sounds very cliche, but it's so true. Many of these things have, like, many of these cliches have, like, background in some kind of truth, right? So your network, and having a network is very difficult for someone who just moved to a new country. So it's very important that once you move, you create a network for yourself, and then being able to tap into that network and be able to get, like, your first offer, because applying online is nice and good, but you and all the 1 million other people, plus
Are
the people
doing
that
the
live in the
same.
country, plus the people that just moved there, plus the people that outside want to move there, everybody, all of you applying online.
Right.
So what will make you stand out is your ability to tap into your network, and maybe somebody do a referral for you, for example. And of course, you still have to go into that interview and be able to check all the boxes and be able to show what you can do. But that referral, at least it pushes you above
The 1 million people that have submitted the same,
exactly.
applied for
So
the
actually, my first job in Germany, I got from, like, somebody was just speaking and saying, "Oh, the company she's working at is recruiting and stuff like that." I would never have found out about this company if I was just looking up, because they didn't even advertise it. It wasn't advertised. That was the first job I got. After that, of course, the other job I got was, like, online. I didn't know anything about the company. It was not network, nothing. But I can see the role that first job I got played, in terms of somebody just mentioned it, and I would never I've heard about this company because it's not one of those famous ones, right?
This is
So I think
amazing. Yeah,
network is
it's a
very
great,
powerful.
yeah, it's a great tip. But talking about network, you just moved into a new country. How were you able to, create that network and
Mhm.
build to leverage on that to, have a social life and at the same time being able to expand your network?
So like I feel like I have a process to it now every time I move to a new country. The key for me in my personal experience is like when you move to a new country, I just go for every single thing, every
Even
single event, every like I go online, I go all the communities on Facebook, on Meetup, on Internations, everything, and I just sign up for every event, even though it's not my cup of tea. And then the more you go out,
yeah,
and meet people, it's a numbers game. Then you start to meet more people. More people are passing through your pipeline, and then you start to curate like your own tribe of people. But the worst thing you can do when you move to a new country is to sit down at home and watch Netflix. Big
depression.
no.
Yeah.
Nobody is
No,
gonna
no,
come to your
it's
door and
not
find.
happening inside your house. No.
Never. You will never have any friends. You will never know anybody. And you will just keep in that cycle of, oh, it's so lonely. It's so isolated. Yes, it is lonely and isolating, but you also have to take responsibility for your own
Yeah.
actions and go out there and
Yes.
be
Yeah.
the ambassador for yourself.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you because it has played a big role for me as well. Moving from Denmark to Spain, like I mentioned to you that the first 3 months that I moved, it was
Yeah.
like bam, 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 everywhere, every event, I'm there. I'm with my camera. I'm talking. I'm doing this. I can do this, or I can do that. This is what I
Yeah.
do. Oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh, I can see how I can play that. This is that's exactly how I market myself. Like I did market myself and still do actually
Yeah.
here in Marbella because it's like putting yourself out there constantly for people to see, what
Mhm.
you're capable of doing and expand your network. And I'm glad that somebody else approved. At least you are actually an expert in moving. I thought I've moved around, but you have moved like
I mean, there's no science to it. This is
No, no,
exactly
you
how.
are a guru in this one. You're a guru. I leave it for you. I leave it to you, absolutely. So thank you so much for sharing that tip. Okay,
Thank you.
before I let you go, the last question is, you know, a lot of people aspire, if you like Nigerians, most people talk about Japa, moving abroad, they want to travel abroad, but then most people don't know what you have to prepare to actually, what you have, the main preparation to moving. How would you prepare them? If somebody comes to you now as a coach and say, okay, reality about versus reality check and expectation, put it in check. And then how can you, two questions, how can you actually the people, women living abroad in diaspora right now, how can they continue to embody a positive light of African women in diaspora to be able to change that narrative and the stereotype surrounding us?
Okay, so first question, how do you want, because yeah, there's so many jackpot people in my DMs, right? So like I get so many
People that want
questions.
to jump abroad.
Oh
Okay,
my
let's go to
God,
that
it's
first. Yes.
exhausting. It's exhausting and I cannot answer everybody. So one big thing I will say, which I notice like people don't like to do, I'm talking about like Nigerians now,
Yeah.
to be specific, and
Yeah.
let's talk to the Nigerian women who
Mm.
are maybe still in Nigeria and want to move abroad. People don't like to research. And there is no excuse for ignorance in this day and age. And imagine, for example, I share a content about how to move to Germany, for example, right?
Yeah.
Stating how to, and somebody still comes under the comment of that post and say, please, how can I move to Germany? And I'm like, you know? So yeah, people don't like to research, people don't like to scroll, but I can tell
like great.
they don't like to read, but I can tell you all the things I know now and all the things I've done and all the moves I've made is because I read. I was looking for, because me too, I wanted to, like, it's always been my dream to have like a global international career, right? It's always
Right.
been my dream. And it was research, finding out information. And that's why I can share so much now because I'm not sharing from an empty space. I know what I'm talking about, right? So I think the biggest thing you can do is to research or follow people like me on social media.
Take your flowers, girl.
Plug, plug,
Take
plug.
it.
Yeah, just you can follow me on social media because I love, people think I get paid to talk about this, like moving abroad or sharing my experience. I don't get paid. I wish the German government will come and pay me. I don't get paid. I just share it because I know how much that information would have saved me all the
Hey,
research time I was doing back then, like many, many years ago, you know. So I share it from a place of passion. So if you don't want to do the research, then follow. And if you want to, after following, please ask sensible questions. Don't come and ask me why something I've already answered. Come and be asking me again. You're not serious.
that's a
So
very good one. Yes, make your
yeah.
research. It's very important and
Very,
read.
very
Yeah,
important. Very
yeah.
important. I hope I answered this. There were 2 questions.
You did answer the first question. And then the second one, how can the ones, African women in diaspora at the moment, how can they continue to embody that, to act towards changing the narratives and the stereotypes, the negative narratives and stereotypes around African women in diaspora?
I would say, like, carry yourself as the queen you are with your queen energy. Silly
Mm.
people will always be silly people. There's nothing you can do about ignorance. Like, it's not my job to educate you. There's internet. So just carry yourself with the queen energy that you are. And like, if people are ignorant, then I mean, it just make them understand that you're ignorant, like you don't know anything. You're
Right.
not exposed in a nice way, of
In a
course.
nice
Very
way. Yeah.
diplomatic. But like unexposed people, like I'm not gonna, for example, I'm not gonna have a debate or a conversation with somebody that is obviously not exposed, right? And I always it sounds like one is bragging or whatever, but we have to be ambassadors for ourselves. Like wherever I go, I make people understand that look, I'm very well educated. I have a master degree. I'm like locally and internationally educated. I've lived in multiple countries. I've like worked in multiple countries.
Yeah,
So
you're diverse. Yes.
yeah, exactly. So I always put that foot forward. I'm not saying if that's not your case, you should do, but we all have something going for us. We are African women, like we don't sleep, we don't carry last, you know.
True,
So
true,
we
true.
always we always have something going for us. So whatever it is that it's going for you, package it. Nigeria, we know how to package it in a very nice way and let them understand. Like, don't be ratchet because you are also like we are ambassadors, right? So in any space we find ourselves, like we go in with the queen energy. We speak. We don't shout. We don't fight. No, we speak.
I think.
You can always put people in their place in a very nice way. If you don't know how to do it, well, I don't know.
Come.
Maybe actually, maybe me and Clara should coach you.
Call Clara to do it for you.
I
This
coach
is where
you.
Clara comes in place to do it for you. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
but
keep it classy. We keep it classy. But
exactly.
I totally agree. We are ambassadors in this country, in everywhere that we are as African women, and we have to carry ourselves as such, as well as show what we are capable of doing.
Absolutely.
Don't be apologizing so much. I feel like most people they walk under the shell of, oh, thank you so much, under the shell of gratitude. You are offering something and they see that, take advantage of that. Actually, I was like, somebody, I've been working women's workshop for a long time, and then someone said, Clara, you know what makes you stand out in all of this? Your work is incredible, but you know what makes you stand out? The fact that you are an African woman doing this shit. That's what makes it. Sorry, this is my shock as well.
Oh.
That's what makes That's what makes you stand out. She said, own it. Just when you work, as in the moment she didn't know what she did, and I used to answer Clara Crumble, long in Denmark. And then I realized that when I introduced myself, hi, on the phone, like when you make a call, hi, my name is Clara Crumble, blah, 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 it sounds really very foreign. When I come, somebody will say, it's you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see that kind of, oh, okay, I didn't expect a Black person. So
Yes.
my name is Clara Chizoba Crumba. By the time you hear that Chizoba, you already know. She's
Ah.
not European. Chizoba is not like, I always say, Clara Chizoba Crumba, Clara Chizoba Crumba. So I sing it like a song. You don't put
Yeah.
without the Chizoba in it. Yasta, that's
Right.
it.
Right.
So it kind of changed a lot. Immediately, the culture starts selling the brand. You get
Mm. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the ambassadors now is like, you don't see me without seeing the Africa. We are here, we are one.
I love it.
And you see the
Love it.
African, yeah, no, it's the whole package. So it's I think more of us should speak up, and I appreciate that you shared a little bit of your This is just a nugget that you gave us because you have so many. Yeah?
Ah,
Please go to Wale or Clinic and get all the tips. There's so many things, but really, this is just, I feel like you embody that thing of African woman in diaspora who is
thank you.
doing and shaking things up. I love it so much. Please keep it up,
Thank you.
and keep being a good ambassador as you are. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Clara, for having me on your platform. I really appreciate it. And I want to give you a big shout out for the work you're doing. You're doing an amazing and a fantastic job,
Thank
like promoting
you.
this the African in diaspora story. I really appreciate your work.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. I will
Thank
talk
you.
to you soon and come around
Thank
soon. Remember,
you.
yeah? Or
Yes.
come to you. Stay tuned for more of Women's World Show, more interesting stories from amazing women here with us in Women's World Show.